everybody. Welcome to Xavia Fox Talks, and I am your host, Xavia Fox. I bet you already knew that, though, huh? Today, I am here talking with Mr. Allan Wesley. He's the author of this wonderful book here, Who is the Man in Your Bed?
The purpose of my book, well, actually, the book's written for two types of women. Women who are looking for a very serious relationship, and the first part of the book really deals with that. The second part of the book deals more with women who want to find out whether or not the guy is being faithful and the different techniques that Tricia alluded to that read. Now, one of the things I stressed in the book is that the knowledge that I'm giving women in this book that they're being provided with is knowledge that they can be comfortable dealing with any guy. Now, you're not necessarily going to be on the defensive right away, but the fact that you have this knowledge, you should be more at ease with yourself, knowing that, hey, if this guy approaches me, and if he's going to be up to any tricks, then I got that covered because I've read this book. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for, or that's my intent for the book.
So what stands out in your mind about the book? Are there any phrases, sentences, a particular chapter? What stands out most about the book to you?
Oh, my goodness. What stood out the most about the book was using technology as a resource for finding the information that you want. Most guys that I've ever dated have always said, are you a private investigator? Do you work for the CIA? It's just always been my inquisitive nature to know what I'm dealing with. The mistake I made in the past, though, is I would wait until it was a blazing fire before I started researching things. There would be little hints along the way, little red flags along the way, but I'm an eternal optimist. So I want to believe that what he's saying is true. I want to hope for the best. But the reality is, if I sat and really thought about everything that I heard and saw, I probably could have saved myself some heartache. But on the flip side of that, you will feel like you have to work for the CIA if you take all those action steps in terms of using the internet, checking the phone bills, setting the guy up with a friend, all those extra steps. Because I guess
Did you suggest that, to set the guy up with a friend?
Let me specifically. Do you want to explain, Allan?
Explain that to me a little bit. Setting the guy up with a friend. What is that? Because I didn't read it. I want to hear from you.
Okay. Again, in the second half of the book, we're basically exposing some of the techniques that some guys, and again, this is not all guys are not like this, obviously, but these are some of the techniques that some guys would stoop to, essentially. And I did point out that these are options that a woman who is interested in finding out more, there may be certain patterns that she can use. And one of those tools that works pretty well is pretending to be a secret admirer of this person. Sending him an email, pretending to be someone else. Now, the premise here is that if he's dating you, and he's interested in you exclusively, then he should not be responding favorably to someone who is sending him messages as an online, secret admirer. And that's, again, that brings out the character. If we're dating and I told you, hey, I'm serious about you, but you sent me an email stating, hey, I think you're fine, or what have you, and I'm responding, yeah, why don't we get together, then who am I really?
Okay.
So that's the part of that.
And to add to that, and a real life scenario for me was I was in a relationship with someone, and I had to go to the emergency room to the hospital, and I was there for about 24 hours. He actually never came to the hospital, and I couldn't figure out why he would not come to the hospital. So when I got home, I went on the computer, and I kept saying, what in the world could have kept him from coming to the hospital? Well, I set his email account up, so I also had the password, so I hacked it. Turns out he changed it, so then I changed it to something that I could access the emails with. Turns out he was having an extramarital affair, and he was on the phone all day with this woman, and they were on the computer all day exchanging nude pictures of their escapades. So I found out that the reason why he didn't come to the hospital was pretty much he was cheating with her that day.
Wow.
And so, again, because that's my nature, I kind of, women's intuition is a strong, powerful tool. You know when something's not right, it doesn't set right. And so for me, the trigger was, I'm at the hospital in the emergency room and you're not coming. That's a problem. But he wasn't a professional cheater, as you referred to in the book. He was more like an amateur. He just did sloppy things that were not hard to pick up on.
Now, what exactly is a professional cheater, Allan?
Those are the ones that it's pretty difficult to catch these guys, the ones who are like that, and pretty much they know one of the things that's referenced in the book has to do with the normal behaviors, the normal cheating behaviors of someone who's cheating. The suspicions of being out late, not answering his phone when you call, coming home smelling like someone else's perfume. These are the mistakes the amateurs make. Professional cheater knows this. He knows, for example, that you're going to check his phone. So one of two things he can do. If you're going to check my phone, I'm going to have another phone that you don't know about, as John Edwards did. So these are not just things that I made up. If you read that book, I can't remember the name of the book with John Edwards up there. He actually had two cell phones. He's not the only guy who runs around two cell phones. The other thing that some men can do is, again, I know you can check my phone. The woman that I'm with, the other woman that I'm seeing, well, hey, if she knows about you, I tell her when to call, when not to call, the text messages, so that when you look at my phone, you're not going to see text messages, you're not going to see phone calls, and late hours of the morning or anything like that. These are the professional cheaters. If he's cheating with someone else, she knows the deal. She knows, hey, he's cheating with me, he has a wife, he has kids, but I'm okay with that. That's the problem, really, in a lot of instances. If he finds a woman who's willing to share him with you, it's very difficult for you to find out that this is going on.
Right. And we talked about the sisterhood.
I don't know if you've been watching my shows or not, but I did a Brothers of the Round Table where they shared a lot of stuff, but we're also doing the Sisters Circle. And one of the things that we talked about was sisterhood, how we don't really have a sisterhood, how women will definitely date a man knowing that, he has a woman or a wife. So we have no sisterhood. You had to, Allan, if you had to choose one thing out of your book that women walked away with, what would that be?
What is your one key point?
Chapter 6 is my favorite chapter. In chapter 6, I talk about the fact that women seem so rushed to get into relationships, and as you're rushing into the relationship, that there's a lot that you're missing, and you're not checking what he's saying. Hey, I can tell someone I'm divorced, and I understand that woman wants to, as Chris pointed out earlier, you want to believe the guy, but it's not like that anymore, unfortunately. So you have to take your time getting into the relationship, finding out exactly who this person is. Again, we're not all that we say we are, and you have to do that. You have to take your time. If he tells you a couple of things about himself, great. You need to check that. And so the biggest thing for me that women should take away here is go slowly into a relationship. Make sure and do those checks. Make sure that you get to know the guy before you just jump into bed with him. Because once you jump into bed with the guy quickly, it's pretty much game over, right? He's just ready to move on.
Right. Yeah, that's I think they said on the
Brothers of the Round Table. Once the one guy said, as soon as he ejaculates, all the feeling and desire that he had for you comes out with it, and that's just kind of
right. And I second that. That's true. That's how a lot of men. Again, not all. I don't like to come across as branding, all guys, but some guys, the ones who play it, that's exactly how it is. It's true.
And can I add, actually, because of Chapter 6, that's why I made the statement, I really wish I had your book a few years ago, especially right after my divorce, because I think now we're in 2011, the dating game now is so very different from the
very different.
Right, even early 2000s, late 90s, it's so different now. So knowing, or just at least having a good seed planted saying, okay, there is no rush. If this person is genuine, if he truly wants what's in my best interest, I don't have to worry about losing him or him running away. Because one of the issues now is, especially, it used to be typical of Atlanta, but I kind of think it's nationwide now. There are more women than there are available good men. And so, at least in my personal experience, some of the men that I've run into think that, well, if you don't do X, Y, Z, and if you don't do it when I want you to, then that's okay, because I got a line of 9 other ones over here that will. Mm-hmm. So then now I'm either in panic mode or telling him to kick rocks and go in those shoes. But before reading the book, I would probably have been more in panic mode because I don't want to be the one that's left out. So then I may have made choices not, in my best interest, or didn't look at the signs, didn't pay attention to someone who ultimately was up to no good in the beginning. So that Chapter 6 really resonated with me because I realized I have, just great value, and you're really selling yourself short when you don't wait.
Foxy, Loxy, I see you.
This girl, Miss Fox, thinks she gonna eat our loaded yam, the whole thing, but that ain't going on. Jimmy Jam gonna smash it. With my guest, Xavia Fox from Xavia Fox Talks.
And you can tell everybody what you want to be called by.
Xavia Fox here, still on the red carpet.
Miss X.